A Husband's Duty, Chapter 6, Returning with a Bang. Of course not. The timing isn't right, she thought. But Taepyeong knew what she was thinking. So he grabbed the phone and handed it to her. Mirai did not step aside to take the phone call. Instead, she confidently pressed the answer button right in front of Taepyeong. Mirai, where are you right now? I was afraid the reporters would find me, so I found a place to hide, Mirai replied calmly. So you're saying you aren't aware of the incident with Longji? Jinhu asked in a patient tone. What's wrong with Longji? The place I have hidden is quite a remote, so I haven't been able to keep up with what's happening on the outside. What happened? Mirai tried her best to sound curious. Thanks to your manager, Tiani is now in a mess. Return to the office first. I'm going to arrange for you to hold a press conference. Mirai, I am depending on you to clear Tiani's name, Jinho said. Press conference? More like another opportunity for him to throw the blame on Mirai. Mirai thought. Did he really think she was still that knave? Mirai hung up the phone in disgust, when suddenly Taepyeong began to speak. I've already saved my number in your phone. Anytime you need me, give me a call and let me know what you want to do. Thank you, Taepyeong. You shouldn't be calling me that. Taepyeong unfolded his legs and pulled Mirai to his side. Call me something else, or I won't let you go. Mirai blushed as she whispered shyly, Hubby. A rare smile appeared on Taepyeong's face. Come on, I'll drop you off at work. Remember what you promised. Don't get close to another man. Mirai knew exactly what Taepyeong was referring to. She responded with a reassuring smile and a hopeful look in her eyes for Taepyeong to trust her. Taepyeong's heart skipped a beat. Between the two of them, there was nothing more to shy. In just 40 minutes, Taepyeong had successfully driven Mirai to a location close to Tiani Entertainment. As the king of entertainment, he knew all the deepest, darkest secrets of the industry. Hence, he was curious as to how Mirai intended on turning the tables to retrieve her position as top model. Mirai knew what she was getting herself into. It was clear that this was a game where she had to keep her cards hidden, while her enemies had already laid their cards on the table. If she couldn't change the outcome even after swapping out her entire hand, then she would have to admit defeat. After stepping out Taepyeong's car, she accessed the building through a secret hallway. As soon as the staff spotted Mirai, the room was filled with mixed reactions of disgust, hate, and mockery. As if they were sure Longji's revelations were all under Mirai's directions. Mirai pretended not to notice. She walked over to Jinho's room and pushed open the door as her gaze met the back of Jinho's head. You're back. Jinho turned around, holding back his anger. Tell me what happened, Mirai asked. Mirai, are you certain you don't know about the incident with Longji? Jinho threw the newspaper's reports in front of Mirai. He questioned her angrily. If she didn't receive orders from you, how would she be so brave enough to do this? He asked. Jinho, we are about to get married. Why would I do something like this? Wouldn't that be pushing you away? Mirai choked on her words as she looked at him innocently. Then how do you explain why you placed the crown's star on your ankle at the show? You know very well that the biggest difference between you and Yumna are your legs. Mirai looked at Jinho as he interrogated her. She thought on the multiple times that Jinhu had protected Yumna in the same way. She once thought it was all because he was trying to protect his own growing career. So she was willing to endure being wronged and allowed him to stick up for another person. But from the looks of it now, the only person he wanted to protect all along had only been Yumna. At that time, I had no way of wearing the crown's star on anywhere but my ankles. Yumna's assistant was also present. You can ask him, she replied. I asked him already, and he said you had made the decision yourself. Jinhu pressed on the issue. Jinhu, I'm your fiance, yet you choose to believe an outsider? Mirai faked a look of disappointment as she continued to observe Jinhu's reactions. Yesterday, we were supposed to be signing our wedding papers, she reminded him. It's too late to say something or anything now. The damage is done. HF has already notified the court of their intention to sue Tiani for breaching the contract, and thanks to your manager, the public's negative reaction towards Tiani are now getting worse and worse. You need to take responsibility for this. Jinhu looked down at Mirai condescendingly. He gave off the aura of an almighty God passing judgment. You will be my wife soon, and I don't want my wife to hurt my career. That's why, Mirai, for the sake of Tiani, you have to take the responsibility to step out and explain to the public the entire mess was created by your manager for hype and has nothing to do with Tiani. Admitting that my manager was responsible is just like admitting I was responsible. Weren't you the one that called me to substitute Yumna? Mirai cried. Jinhu, is it because I am to marry you that I should be sacrificed? She asked. I don't care. Being recognized was your fault. As soon as those words left his lips, Jinhu must have felt he had gone too far. He quickly calmed down and reached out his arms to give Mirai a hug. However, she pushed him away. Mirai, I was getting a bit impatient. Just this once, after we are married, I promise to treat you well, he said. Of course, Mirai held back her tears and nodded. I am doing this not because I admit to creating this mess. It is because I want to protect your career. But there will be no next time. Yes, I promise there will be no next time, he replied. In actual fact, Jinhu knew Mirai would fall for it again next time, especially after they were married. According to Mirai's character, she would be easily controlled by him. The press conference will be this afternoon at 3 p.m. We will have a meeting in a minute to go over your script, he said. Okay, she replied. Mirai stopped crying and forced herself to look into Jinhu's eyes like always. But as soon as she left the room, her eyes swept over with a cold gaze. She couldn't immediately forget that jerk, but she was going to stick by her decisions. There was no way she was going to take all the blame for Jinho's wrongdoings again. After thinking carefully, she returned to her own room and called her manager. Longji, Jinho is trying to use me as a shield. Ha ha, Mirai. Tell me what you want to do. Her manager was full on in fighting spirit. 3 p.m. I will announce I created the mess and apologize. Afterwards, I want you to anonymously release photos of Jinhu and Yumna being affectionate in the hospital. Haha, sure. I've even thought of a great headline. Exposed. Tiani's boss has multiple affairs. The biggest cheating scum. Mirai couldn't help but respond with a laugh before she began to apologize. Sorry, Longji, for dragging you all into this. Mirai, as long as you have made the decision to start fresh, I will help you return to being the top model. In fact, not only that, I will help you become an international supermodel, Longji promised. International supermodel? She had never thought that far. She simply wanted to focus on the present, which is to make Jinhu and Yumna face their consequences.